There was a lot of emphasis on the team in foundations too. And man, if we can articulate our vision to ourselves and each other, then we can start to articulate it to the team. And we start to see how important it is. If it's important to us and it gets us out of bed every day, if we can articulate that clearly because we understand it ourselves, we can articulate it to our team. And then it's going to be a lot easier to bring it into existence in real life.
Welcome to the Everyday Practices Podcast. I'm Reagan Robertson, and my co-host, Dr. Chad Johnson, and I are on a mission to share the stories of everyday dentists who generate extraordinary results using practical, proven methods you can take right into your own dental practice. If you're ready to elevate patient care and produce results that are anything but ordinary, buckle up and listen in.
Hey everybody, it's Chad Johnson here with Reagan Robertson. Reagan, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing exceptional, Chad. How are you?
Excellent. Welcome to Everyday Practices to all of our listeners. Today we have the Droels on. The Droels are from Minnesota, and Natalie and Andy, how are you guys doing today?
We're great.
Great.
Excellent.
Yeah.
So recently you guys were in the Foundations course, which is kind of an online group that meets together. And what is that? Is it 8 weeks? Does that sound about right? Is it 10?
It's
8-ish. So just to give reference for, people that are listening. So tell us about your experience with that Foundations course that you guys took.
Sort of funny. We wandered in a little bit because we're also working directly with PDA, Cali, and coaching, and it was offered to us. But I was aware of it too. And we needed to make space in our life for all of this stuff because until December of 2020, it was still like, we felt like we were reopening. And we didn't have time to deal with much else,
right? Besides
the excitement of that. So it felt like time to take a step back from the day to day and the week to week and think more strategy. And that did seem to be what this course was all about, like long-term vision, strategy.
So Natalie, can you tell us, both of you are dentists, and can you tell us kind of what your practice looks like?
Sure. So we have a practice that we started together back in 2004. I was fresh out of residency. He was 1 year ahead of me in school. And we did a scratch start. So we had 0 patients and we built it up into something that's much larger today than it was back then. We ended up expanding our practice to 2 locations about 6 years ago. And we are, both general dentists. We sort of job share, I would say, so that we were able to, raise our daughters and never have to rely on too much outside help in that regard.
Yes.
We're a general practice. We historically have done a lot of bread and butter dentistry. And as we've matured and grown through the years, we have started to hone in on certain things that we love to do. I am becoming really interested in building up my Invisalign practice. Dr. Andy is really interested in more full mouth rehabs and helping people that have really significant damage. So that's kind of our practice in a nutshell. We practice together over 2 locations. We've got 1 team that goes back and forth between both locations.
I will add to that to further fill in the picture, the parts of our practice where people turn their head and look at me funny, like the dog turning its head and like,
right.
We're like, wait, you have 2 locations. Is there another doctor in your practice? I'm like, no. And you're both at both? No, we don't use both locations throughout the week. We just don't. And we also haven't really sought out, gotten serious about finding another dentist to work in the office. We're kind of happy
for your exposure, for more patient exposure.
Yeah, we're reaching a different area. And so we're using, I guess the one that we use less is kind of a satellite. We see opportunities in both, and we'll probably change our locations around as opportunities come up with different real estate and stuff later on. But that's like the bewildering part of our practice. And the bewildering part to me is that they're both parts of dentistry that are necessary to do. Somebody's got to do them. Like, people need things done. There are things that Natalie and I don't do, and we're not completely all under one roof service. So now we're talking about things that we would talk about in Foundations, actually. Like, take your practice, the tidy little picture that presents itself to the world on the website, and like, look, the doctors work together and this and that, and then start picking at it. Like, wait, does anyone do endo in your practice? Does anybody place implants? Well, no. those are the areas of opportunity that we tend to ignore on a day-to-day basis. And we started talking about those in foundations, like where are we headed? What's missing? What do we want to add? What do we want to take away? Which is really fun to think about big picture.
Well, that might be something that you discovered while you were in the class, trying to think about, different mitigation for your practice. But what was your pressure point going into the course? I mean, where were you a year ago that you were like, when you first heard about this course from Callie, that you were like, yeah, we need to make this happen?
Well, two answers, because we sort of wandered in because we knew we had time, and we knew.
Oh, that's true.
Sooner or later, and it's part of coaching. So, okay, like we were going to take this opportunity that was available to us, but we're glad we did it. A year ago, we'll just keep speaking as coaching clients too. We were all set to engage with PDA as coaching clients. Then COVID, we were getting ready and putting puzzle pieces in place. Like we knew we needed to switch to Open Dental because we were using this cheesy old software, and we knew it was going to work better. Like let's do our homework, so we're not just doing. So coaching isn't a babysitting job for PDA for the first 6 months. And we were just getting to that point. Then COVID happened, and the year just got really exciting, and we just dealt with the excitement for 6 months, and then we were ready. So coaching
did you
started
kind of feel
2020.
Did you kind of feel like if you were getting someone to clean your house, that you were trying to clean up the house before you had someone clean your house?
Yes.
Maybe.
I did.
Yeah.
Felt that way.
Well, yeah, true. Yes.
For the listeners, just, we're doing video, but you might be listening on your car drive, and Natalie pointed into the camera and was like, yes, exactly. So Natalie, tell us about that. Yeah. What did that look like as far as the accountability, because we're ever evolving in a dental practice, and all of a sudden you're just like, well, why waste time on that low hanging fruit? Let's get it organized first. And then, it'll be maybe minimally acceptable to get someone to come in. So, yeah,
I mean, to back it up a little bit further, we did actually go to a couple of the PDA productivity seminars. And then we also participated in a program called Jumpstart. And I think we really ramped up our production quite a bit, to the point where we realized that we couldn't really support the foundation of what we had going on until we kind of looked behind the curtains a little bit and had a little bit more organization behind the scenes. There's a lot of things administratively and team-wise that just needed to be cleaned up and organized, I feel like. And, coaching is great. The business impact course kind of sped us along, I would say, and forced us to really take a hard look at what's going on behind the scenes.
As it happened, partly from, name names like Patty from PDA helped us directly with Jumpstart, and it was just kind of like coaching light, but with nice results in terms of productivity. But that's like you're driving around in the desert in the dark on some highway, and you don't even have headlights, and you step on the gas and just start going faster. Like, wait, where are you going? And we felt that way by the spring of by the time we had to close for COVID. The practice was doing well financially, but we were driving around in the dark and with the pedal to the metal, and like, okay, this is getting a little crazy. We need help. We need headlights. We need to find out, we need a roadmap. And now we're back to strategic thinking. As far as back to Chad, you're saying about, we're going to clean our house and then someone's going to come and clean it for us. I think I contributed to this in just the way I do things. I can't help it. I like to try and DIY everything. Said to Natalie a number of times, like, let's get as far as we can without their help, and then we'll be that much more ready for their help.
Well,
listen to that for a minute. You can get yourself into trouble that way.
Andy, I so relate to that, because my own dentist, who I adore, I was talking to him about implementing like new bacterial testing, I think it was, and he's super passionate about it. And he was like, well, yes, I want to do this, but I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to do this first, and we'll see how much time I have. And you could see, like, physically, I thought, this is way expanding out where he kind of wants to go. And it felt like you said, I felt like he was kind of driving and not really exactly sure. He had an idea, but it wasn't as clear as it could have been. Do you think that was foundations the beacon for you? Was that the light? Did that start it, or was it COVID? How did you start to get your headlights turned on and figure out where your kind of North Star was?
I do think, both the start of coaching and business impact, they really did happen at almost the same time for us. I think we started coaching at the end of November, and by mid-January, we were thrown into business impact. And what I think it really helped us with was analytics, the power of analytics, right? We, up until this point, really had not been tracking as well as we could have. And part of that, honestly, was that we used to be paper charts up until COVID. Actually, that was a very big push for us. Is when COVID hit, we finally decided, all right, it's time to get rid of these paper charts and move on to something electronic. So we, I think once we switched everything over to an electronic database, it was much easier to track all those analytics, but then to really be able to know what to look for. I don't think I would have known without the help of the business impact course, what things to look for in terms of KPIs, key practice indicators.
Absolutely. And does it inform you because you said earlier, you were talking about how, Andy, you like to do more full mouth rehab, and now you want to go into the more Invisalign pieces. How does that fit into your puzzle? Do you use KPIs and kind of plan that in your education, in the services that you continue to expand? How do those two link for you?
We've been working on that, and I alluded to that earlier. Like, wait, is there another dentist that comes and does these other things that you don't want to do? Is a question. I think somebody was sort of asking me that today, or it's something I would ask me. The way we're addressing that is we're trying to be more precise with marketing and the just little things like the things that are on our website. We're focusing on the team so they know what we're up to and the kind of patients that we're targeting, so that our team is ready to take really good care of them when they call. And we are not particularly on the lookout for the most plain vanilla, like, hey, I just moved to the area, I need a checkup. We're happy to see those kinds of patients, but we're doing some targeting. And I think it just comes all the way from marketing all the way through to
good for you,
the team and everything else. Then the struggle that comes with that is that there are some people who don't fit our profiles of the kind of patients we're looking for, and we don't have somebody else to just like help out with them. So we're running around doing that stuff ourselves too. That's general dentistry for you, I think. So there's a focus, but not a laser focus. We're not specialists, and we don't want to be.
I remember that about 6 months ago, you were wanting to know more about the hiring and, team retention and culture and stuff like that. Do you feel like Foundations kind of helped guide you the right way for that? What was your experience with that?
Yes, a lot. Yes.
Yes.
I feel like 2020 was the year of 2019 was the year of learning to be more productive. 2020 was the year we discovered the team really for the first time. Like, oh, wait, there's a team. We don't have to do everything ourselves. They'll help us. We can just to discover that. And now we're continuing to there was a lot of emphasis on the team in Foundations too. And man, if we can articulate our vision to ourselves and each other, then we can start to articulate it to the team. And we start to see how important it is. If it's important to us and it gets us out of bed every day, our vision or our reason that we go in, what is our purpose what purpose does our practice serve? If we can articulate that clearly, because we understand it ourselves, we can articulate it to our team, and then it's going to be a lot easier to bring it into existence in real life. So Foundations was really helpful to force us to be like, okay, what are we all about actually? Where are we headed?
Well, and I can add to that too. There was one of the weeks of Business Impact, we focused on the team. That was kind of one of our focuses for the week. And man, I got a lot out of that topic. Came at a perfect time because we needed to hire another person for the front desk. And there was some content in our course about how to do behavioral interviewing, I think it was called. And it was so useful down to I tailored the ad that we posted when reaching out to the public for help. And then also during the interview process, there were some really wonderful questions that I was able to pull from that content to ask during an interview. And I would say that my interviews went 100% better than they normally do because of just help with some of the key questions to ask.
That's great.
And I feel like the person that we hired is such a perfect fit for us because we knew ahead of time what we were looking for. And so it was so valuable to us just from that. I mean, we have this amazing new front desk person who I don't know if I would have found her without all these really pointed questions.
But well, Natalie, I have to say too. Oh, go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, well, these aren't tricks. A lot of this came from Renee Lewis from PDA. Who, I asked Victoria Peterson if somebody could install a more Renee button on my keyboard, please, because wow. And these aren't tricks. These are simply ways to make sure that you're actually having a really genuine interviewing experience where both people are going to be happy with the result. It's a way to make things more genuine. You know more details about the questions. I don't remember as well as you do, but those interviews were fun this time in a way that they weren't before, because we had a vision of like, okay, well, here's why we're even looking for somebody, and here's what we have in mind, a lot more than in the past.
Yeah.
Like, okay, we're missing a person. We need someone to take their place. It wasn't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Reagan, I feel like their take-home message, is aside from, marketing and them looking at metrics, I hear that they had their vision articulated. And really in any relationship, whether it's a business relationship, personal relationship, where if you know better what you want, then you're going to naturally be able to find that because you know what you're looking for. I mean, if hunters are out looking for just, something in nature, they might be shooting their arrows at the river. I mean, right. Or they might be shooting it at the dirt, or a corn stalk or something like that. But it's like, once they know what their target is, they're able to only shoot at that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a Midwest thing, right?
Well, I think that, probably Minnesota and Iowa both.
Yeah.
You familiar with the phrase,
what's up, Wisconsin people?
Yeah. Dakotas, spray and pray, spray and pray. Never mind.
Yes, right.
Yeah, just shoot every which way. Okay, another thing that came from foundations that's similar but different. We are leaders, and leaders decide what's important. That's my favorite definition of leadership right now, and I don't know where it came from. We're the ones that decide what's going to be important, and there are a lot of possible things that could be important. At this point in our career, we're not used to being led. We're used to being maybe told what to do by insurance companies or things like that. But the experience of being a follower that's not familiar to me anymore, this far into adulting. But we were led by Victoria and others as students in the foundations course. And I was watching pretty closely at how she was able to decide what's important. So we'd have this big rambling discussion. I usually go off on a tangent as one of the members of the group. And so everyone kind of makes room for that slightly and waits for me to let it all out. And then Victoria, but she pulls it back together and she finds the common threads in a really tactful, kind way. I appreciate her kindness because I can ramble. I'm feeling this. And just that experience of being led helps me understand what it must feel like to be led, like to be one of our team members we're leading.
So you experienced empathy in that moment. Like there's that true relational piece. And I think Andy, your point is so poignant because as leaders, we can so easily forget that. I love that you brought up Renee Lewis's curriculum because she being our chief of staff and COO, she's actually been transformative to me as a leader in how I give feedback, how I understand the components of leadership. I mean, it's not that hard. It's really not, but you have to understand, if you're not given that foundation, you can really spin your wheels out, I think, unnecessarily.
You're so lucky that you get to witness her. Like what I see in that what she does is like the heart of it is so genuine and real. Like she's finding the real stuff that really matters, I think, is what it seems like to me.
Oh, for me personally, it's like free consulting for us in our own company. That's definitely how I feel it.
Yeah, you're lucky. Yeah.
If you're losing sleep over your business and feel like you're already overloaded, but know your business needs attention, you just don't know how, when, or where to start, you're not alone. The reality is many dentists are overworking themselves, yet their practices are still struggling to be as productive as they should be. This is not sustainable, and there is a better way. That's why PDA has developed a transformative new program, Business Impact Foundations, to get you above the daily chaos and propel your business into an investment-grade practice. Using easy-to-implement proven methods combined with a unique learning atmosphere, you can activate a strategic growth plan in just 60 days. If you want to clarify your vision, align your team, and elevate the health of your community like never before, call us right now at 1-800-757-6077, extension 8, or head over to productivedentist.com/foundations to secure your spot. We have 2 sessions left this year, and each program is limited to only 20 doctors. Just for our listeners, use the code 2021IMPACT, that's 2021IMPACT, all one word, for $700 off your tuition.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Everyday Practices Podcast. Chad and I are here every week thanks to our community of listeners just like you, and we'd love your help. It would mean the world if you can help spread the word by sharing this episode with a fellow dentist and leave us a review on iTunes or Spotify. Do you have an extraordinary story you'd like to share or feedback on how we can make this podcast even more awesome? Drop us an email at podcast@productivedentist.com. And don't forget to check out our other podcasts from Productive Dentist Academy at productivedentist.com/podcasts. See you next week.